Have you ever found yourself staring at the clock, nervously twiddling your thumbs, trying to figure out how to start a conversation with someone, only to feel like you're about to hit a wall? You're not alone. Talking to people, especially strangers, can feel downright terrifying. In fact, many of us would rather do almost anything else than face that uncomfortable, stomach-churning moment when we have to speak up. But here's the twist. What if that fear, the social anxiety, the tension you feel every time you need to speak, is all in your mind? That's right. It's not a permanent condition. It's a learned response, and it can be unlearned. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but I've always been shy, it's just who I am. That's the myth we've all been sold. The truth is, no one is born with the inability to speak confidently or start a conversation. So why does talking to others feel like such a daunting task? Is it the fear of saying something stupid? Is it the worry of being judged? Maybe it's the overthinking that happens just before you speak. It's not just in your head, it's a combination of factors, but more importantly, it's a problem that can be solved. And the best part? The solution doesn't require years of therapy or forcing yourself to become an extrovert. In the next few minutes, we're going to dive into exactly why talking to people feels so scary and, more importantly, what you can do to turn it around. Imagine walking into any room and knowing exactly how to break the ice, how to stop overthinking, and how to handle even the most awkward small talk situations. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it doesn't have to be. Let's unpack this together and arm you with the tools to face your fears and walk into any social situation with confidence. Ready to change how you talk to people forever? Understanding the root of the fear. You've probably heard the phrase, "we fear what we don't understand." And when it comes to social anxiety, that couldn't be truer. The fear of talking to people is often linked to a deep-seated uncertainty about how we're perceived. It's not just the thought of messing up, it's the fear of being judged, misunderstood, or ignored. But here's the thing, this fear doesn't come out of nowhere. It's a pattern of thoughts and beliefs we've built up over time, usually from past experiences or our interpretation of social cues. The good news is that by recognizing this fear for what it is, a mental habit, we can start to shift our perspective and change how we react in these situations. Take a second to think about the last time you felt nervous talking to someone. Was it really the person you were talking to, or was it the story you told yourself about how they might view you? The truth is, our brain is wired to protect us from perceived danger, and when it comes to social interaction, it interprets uncertainty as a threat. This response might be rooted in childhood experiences or even social norms that we've internalized over time. But once you understand this, you can start questioning the validity of those thoughts. If you shift your mindset, you can stop overthinking and instead approach conversations with curiosity and openness. The key to easing this fear lies in challenging your assumptions. Instead of assuming the worst, start questioning those fears. What's the worst that could happen? In most cases, you'll find the answer isn't nearly as catastrophic as your mind made it out to be. Social anxiety often stems from imagining judgment that doesn't exist. And when you start seeing it for what it is, just a thought, suddenly it feels a lot more manageable. So, where do we go from here? How can you actually begin to rewrite these old scripts and start taking control of the situation? That's where the next step comes in. The power of small shifts in mindset. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and all you can think is, "I'm going to mess this up." But what if I told you that with just a small shift in how you think, that situation could feel completely different? The truth is, overcoming the fear of talking to people is often about tweaking the way we approach these moments. You don't have to be an extrovert or the life of the party. Sometimes, all it takes is changing your mindset, and suddenly, those once terrifying social situations start to feel more manageable. This starts with a simple yet powerful concept. You don't have to be perfect. In fact, trying to be perfect is one of the quickest ways to paralyze yourself with anxiety. Instead, embrace the idea that it's okay to make mistakes or say something awkward. Everyone has been there. The key is not to make it a big deal. When you accept that conversations don't need to be flawless, you open yourself up to a more relaxed, authentic version of communication. It's about taking the pressure off yourself and letting the conversation flow naturally without worrying about every little detail. Let's take a look at an example. You're at a party and you feel that familiar anxiety creeping up as you approach a group. Instead of thinking, I need to impress them, shift your thought to, I'm here to learn something new, and it's okay if the conversation isn't perfect. This mindset shift can help you stay present, rather than getting lost in the what-ifs and overthinking. You'll notice that the more you let go of the need to impress, the more relaxed you become, and that's when true social confidence starts to shine. So how can you start implementing this shift in your daily life? Let's explore that in the next section. Practical conversation. Tips for building social confidence. Now that we've explored the mindset shift, let's dive into the practical side of things. How exactly can you start a conversation without feeling like you're about to freeze up? It's all about taking small, manageable steps. One of the most effective strategies is breaking the ice with something simple and relatable. Instead of trying to come up with the perfect opener, focus on something you both can connect over. For instance, if you're at an event, a great way to kick things off is by commenting on something in your shared environment, like the music or the food. It's low pressure and instantly gives you something to talk about without the need for a grand introduction. Another useful tip is to focus less on what you should say and more on being genuinely interested in the other person. People love talking about themselves, and when you show curiosity and ask open-ended questions, you're not only taking the spotlight off of yourself, but you're also giving the other person the chance to open up. A great starter could be something like, "What brought you to this event?" or "How do you know the host?" It's simple, yet effective, and opens the door to more engaging conversations. The real secret, however, lies in the art of listening. When you're not focused on what you're going to say next, you'll find that conversations flow much more easily. It's easy to get caught up in your own nerves, but when you listen attentively and react to what the other person is saying, you become a better conversationalist without even trying. This approach will not only ease your social anxiety, but it'll also make you more likable and approachable. So now that you have the tools to start conversations, what's next in developing these social skills? Let's move on to how to handle awkward moments. Handling awkward moments with confidence. Even with the best preparation, there are still those awkward pauses that feel like they last forever. You know the ones, when neither person knows what to say next, and the silence feels like it's suffocating. It's in these moments that most people's anxiety spikes, and they feel like they've ruined everything. But here's the thing. Awkward moments are completely normal, and they don't have to derail a conversation. The key is to shift your perspective and handle them with grace. Instead of seeing these pauses as a failure, view them as a natural part of the flow of conversation. Everyone experiences them, and it's not something to be feared. One great way to handle these moments is by embracing humor. You don't have to be a stand-up comedian, but a lighthearted comment about the awkwardness can break the tension. For example, if you're caught in a lull, you could say something like, "Well, that was awkward," and then laugh about it. A little humor can go a long way in disarming the situation and showing the other person that you're comfortable enough to not take things too seriously. This will not only ease your own anxiety, but also make the other person feel more at ease as well. Another tip is to simply acknowledge the pause and then pivot the conversation in a new direction. Don't try to force the conversation to continue on the same track if it feels stale. Ask a different question or comment on something else in your environment to reignite the flow. Remember, the goal is to stop overthinking these moments and start embracing them as part of the process. With practice, handling awkward pauses will become second nature, and you'll find that the more you face these moments head-on, the less they'll impact your overall confidence in conversations. So, with that in mind, let's dive into what you can do to improve your social skills even further. Building emotional resilience for social confidence. The final piece of the puzzle when it comes to overcoming the fear of talking to people is emotional resilience. Social interactions can be unpredictable, and sometimes, even with all the right tools and mindset shifts, things won't go as planned. That's okay. What matters is how you respond to these situations. If you can bounce back from setbacks, awkward moments, or even moments of rejection, you'll find that your confidence in social settings grows stronger over time. Emotional resilience is about developing the ability to stay calm, composed, and confident, no matter what comes your way. One powerful way to build emotional resilience is through self-reflection and self-compassion. After a conversation, instead of berating yourself for every little mistake or awkward moment, take a step back and assess what went well. Did you ask good questions? Did you actively listen? Focus on the positive aspects and learn from any challenges. Over time, this positive reinforcement will help you become more resilient to the ups and downs of social interactions. You'll start to realize that one awkward conversation doesn't define you or your ability to connect with others. Another crucial element in building emotional resilience is learning how to manage your emotions, especially in stressful situations. Before you dive into a conversation, take a deep breath and remind yourself that it's just a conversation, not a life or death situation. Practicing mindfulness and grounding techniques can help you center yourself when anxiety creeps in. The more you practice managing your emotions in these situations, the easier it will become to stay composed and confident, no matter how challenging the conversation may seem. As you build this emotional strength, you'll notice that talking to people no longer feels as scary. But of course, this is just the beginning of your journey to mastering social interactions, and there's always more to learn and grow from. You've now got the tools to turn social anxiety into social confidence. By understanding the root of your fears, making small shifts in your mindset, and applying simple conversation tips, you can stop overthinking and start engaging in meaningful interactions. And remember, awkward moments, they're not the end of the world. In fact, they're an opportunity to embrace your authenticity and resilience. The more you practice, the easier it gets. But here's the question. Are you ready to stop letting fear hold you back? Are you ready to step into a world where talking to anyone, anywhere, feels as natural as breathing? It's within your reach. Every conversation is a chance to build your confidence and break free from the chains of social anxiety. Take what you've learned here today and start applying it in your daily life. Trust me, the more you practice, the more effortless it will become. If you're serious about transforming your social skills, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We've got plenty more tips coming your way to help you crush your social fears and unlock your full potential. It's time to stop being awkward, overcome shyness, and become the confident communicator you've always wanted to be.